Welcome back to Science 10's physics videos. This is lesson number 2. We've talked about significant digits already, and now what we're going to talk about today is scientific notation. Scientific notation is a way to write numbers that are either very big or very small in a form that's easier to either read or to use in a mathematical equation. So we'll see down here at the bottom we have either a large number and we also have a small number. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the decimal point from where it is currently to another point in that number and compress it so that we're not using up as much room. So in the first one we have a large number, 602,000. We move the decimal point from where we assume it is right now at the end of the number. We're going to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots to the point just after our first significant digit. In this case it's a 6. So our decimal point is going to go to the position right behind the 6. So you'll notice our new number then, we're going to get rid of these zeros, is 6.02. So we'll see that right here. And after that we're going to write times 10 and an exponent. The exponent represents how many times we moved that decimal point over. Now you'll notice this number here, our exponent is a positive 5, and that's because we moved our decimal point to the left. Notice here, if the decimal point moves to the left, it will be a positive exponent. Okay, in other words, if you have a big number, you're going to have a positive exponent. Okay, it's the opposite for a very small number. So our second number here, it's a small number, it's 0.00, etc. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put our mouse or a cursor, in your case your pen or pencil, on the decimal point, and we're going to move it over until our decimal is after our very first significant digit. So here we're going to move to the right 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So we end up with it after the 6 as well again. Our new exponent here is 6.02 times 10, and this time it's to the negative 4. Okay, if we move the decimal point to the right, it means we're going to have a negative exponent. Or in other words, if it's a small number you started with, you're going to end up with a negative exponent. Okay, so let's try that out a couple more times. Okay, so let's do some practice problems, shall we? Now, number 1 says write the following numbers in regular notation. Regular notation is how we usually will write a number. So 2.3 times 10 to the 6 is already in scientific notation. We're going to change it back to a regular number. So first thing we're going to do is write down our 2.3. So 2.3. Now 10 to the 6 means it's a positive exponent, which means we're going to move it back and make a large number. Remember, a positive exponent means it's a large number. So I start with my pen or my pencil or whichever writing utensil you prefer. Put my pen or pencil on the decimal, and I'm going to move it over 6 spots. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You'll notice there's no numbers after in the spaces I provided. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill them in with zeros. Okay? So then my number comes out to be this one here. We're going to clean it up just a little bit. Okay, so 2,300,000. And that's our final number in regular notation. Okay, so if we do that a couple more times, same thing with the second one here, 3.14. I'm going to move it over 4 times, and it's positive, so we're going to make a big number. Start with my pen on the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4. I fill in my zeros, and I'm going to clean it up a little bit. 3, 1, 4, 0, 0. So both of those numbers that we've used already are large numbers. So we notice again that our exponents are positive in this case. So if we take a look at our next 2 numbers that we're going to practice, they are 8.543 times 10 to the negative 3 and negative 6.543 times 10 to the negative 5. Those are both negative exponents, so that means that we're going to make those numbers smaller. Okay, so again, same thing. We take our 8.543, Okay, times 10 to the negative 3, but instead of moving our decimal to make this number larger, we're going to move it to make it smaller. And we're moving it 3 spots because that's what our exponent says. So we put, again, our pen or pencil on our decimal point. We're going to move it over 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. Again, we're going to fill in our zeros. Okay, and we're going to clean it up a little bit. Okay, we always remember if it's a very small number, we start with a 0 point. That's where our decimal ended up. 0, 0, 8, 5, 4, 3. And that's in regular notation. Now again, for our next one, you'll notice that our number is a negative. Okay, we're thinking about, well, does that matter? Heck no. Okay, the only number that really matters here, or that we have to worry about in the direction that we go, is our exponent. That's the only one we have to worry about. So we write down a number just like the same, our negative 6.543. 6.543. We stick our writing utensil on our decimal point, and we move over the number of times that the exponent says. It says it's a negative number, so we're going to move to the left, okay? And we're going to move over 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to fill in our zeros. Okay, our decimal is here, so we need to start with a 0 before it. And we're going to write out our number. Remember that it's a negative number, so that needs to come first. Okay, 0.0006543. Okay? So, if you have any questions or concerns about those, please let us know. Okay, that's going from scientific notation to regular notation. Now, for number 2, you're taking regular notation and you're changing it to scientific notation. This is also something that you need to be able to do. Okay, so again, you start out with our regular number. You don't need to write it again because it's already there. And we want to put our decimal in between our first significant digit and our second significant digit, or just after our first one. So our first significant digit is number 4. That's right here. So we're going to put our pen on our decimal point, move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. Okay? Our new number is 4.82. Our new value, I should say, times 10, 5 spots. Okay? And we have to figure out if it's going to be a negative exponent or a positive exponent. We started out with a very small number. Remember, small numbers are going to have a negative exponent, so it should be to the negative 5. So 4.82 times 10 to the negative 5. With our second number here, our decimal we assume is at the end of our number, because it's a very large number and there's no decimal point here. So we just assume it's here at the end. Okay, so we do the same. We stick our writing utensil at the on our decimal point, and we move it so that the decimal is after our first significant digit. So let's move it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. Our new number is 3 times 10 to the 8th. Now I think, is it going to be positive or negative? Our initial number, our initial value is very large, so our exponent is going to stay positive. Remember, a large value means it's going to have a positive exponent. Okay, that's very similar with our next number, 12,080. And we put our pen where we would expect the decimal to be. In this case, we assume it's at the end because it's not put in there on purpose. And we move our pen over so that it's after our first significant number. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.208 times 10 to the 4th. Okay, and then our last one, again, put your pen or your pencil on the decimal point, move it over so it's after the first significant number. 1, 2. So our new number is 3.18 times 10. We moved it over 2 spots. We started with a very small number, so we know that our exponent is going to be a negative. Okay, this is the at-home portion of the lesson. This lesson's short and sweet. There's not a lot extra to do or to worry about for this. The only things that you need to be able to do is to take a number in scientific notation and change it to regular notation, or to take a number from regular notation and change it to scientific notation. So please complete these 8 questions for tomorrow. We will be taking them up in class and we will be checking.